through those guidelines and share some comment about each one. And once we get through, then we'll certainly take your questions. We ask that you put those in the chat. We've got people monitoring those, and we'll try to get to each question before we finish the meeting. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started and go down the document that we've got posted for you. Again, as stated, we have been in conversation with the Governor's Office, State Health Department, have done that because of the executive order. And to be quite frank, part of our conversation has been asking for some relief, especially to the limitation of 4 participants, 4 spectators per participant. We are good with the rest of it. As a matter of fact, our mandates that I'm about to share are probably more restrictive than what's included in the executive order, but we wanted to ask for some relief for the 4 spectator per participant guideline there that's in his order, and we're still waiting for some information in that regard. Hopefully we can accomplish that as we look to limit capacities in our facilities during the playoffs. Number 1 there, we are going to require masks, some kind of face coverings, and we're engaging our administrators who are involved in those contests to be diligent and being compliant with that. We think that's very important, regardless of whatever capacity we're allowed. We think that everyone there wearing a mask is going to be really important, as well as observing the social distancing requirements that we're going to have in place. We want people to wear their masks. We want them to stay spaced out. We're asking our host facilities to clean, to sanitize between contests, between each game. That's very important. And most of them, as we visit with a lot of our administrators this morning, most of them have been doing that throughout the season. So that's not going to be anything different than what most of our schools are already doing. The only time that we will not require a cleaning in between the games will be when the same schools are participating in both games of a session. If it's the girls' teams playing in the first game and the same 2 schools of boys playing in the second game, we won't make that requirement of cleaning the gym in between. And then again, as stated, the seating capacity, we're waiting to work with the Governor's Office and the State Department of Health to determine what that is. But we will have some capacity number that's going to be mandated for all our facilities as we get into the playoffs. We've established our game times for the district, regional, and area basketball playoffs to be 1 and 3 in those afternoon sessions. We're going at 6 and 8 in the evening sessions. If you'll notice, that's about 30 minutes more than what we are accustomed to scheduling our games, and simply doing that to give the schools a chance to do their sanitizing in between those games and do the necessary cleaning that we want to be able to bring another group in safely. So those are the times. We encourage you to always check our webpage and check the brackets. There might be some of those times that change under some unusual circumstances that the schools might find themselves in. So our standard are those 1 and 3 and 6 and 8 times. But again, encourage you to always check our brackets for a few changes that might be made throughout the course of the playoffs. Again, if the same two teams are involved in a particular session during the playoffs, that second game, we'll just, like we do in most circumstances, we'll start that second game 15 minutes after the first. If that is the same two teams playing in the next game, in the second game of the session, then we'll use the 15 minutes that we typically use and start the second game. Again, unless the same two schools are playing, we're going to clear the gym after each game. As mentioned, we need that time to sanitize, for the host site to do the necessary cleaning that's expected, and then we'll open back up. So just be ready for that, and hopefully, don't know that you've encountered that yet in the games you might have attended. We think so, we hope so, but just be prepared for that, please, that we are going to clear in between games, and that's something different than what we've done in the past. Don't want you to be caught off guard there. Our ticket prices remain what they have been for this school year. In our preliminary rounds, you'll be charged $7 per session. Our patrons will be charged $7 per session. State tournament, that's going to be $10 per session. When we clear the facility during a session, during a two-game session, our patrons are going to be required to hold on to their ticket stub in order to re-enter that same session. That's going to be important, that our school people, our patrons, get that information that you're going to need your stub, or in some cases, schools will use a stamp to re-enter during that session. We need them to hold on to that stub or use that stamp to re-enter that during that session, please. Anyone, as always, anyone school age or above is going to be required to have a ticket. And again, even the youngsters need to hold on to that stub to get back in. We're limiting our spirit squads to 10. That's generally more, or we generally allow more during our playoff activities in basketball and wrestling. But for this year, in basketball in particular, we're going to limit to 10, and we're going to, because of the limitations of the capacity of the gym, we want to be able to allow as many patrons to get in as possible. Something very important to note, we shared it with our schools. There may be teams that are impacted by COVID as we work through the playoffs. And we know that's very unfortunate if it happens. We feel like, and a lot of our school people feel like, for the integrity of our playoffs, that we need to keep moving forward. So if we encounter a situation where a school is scheduled to advance but cannot because they've been impacted by COVID, then we're going to advance. We're going to move on and advance on through our bracket. So an example of a scenario like that, if Team A is scheduled to play Team B and Team A is unable to play because of COVID protocols, then Team B is going to automatically advance, and we're going to keep moving through our tournament. So that's something that, again, we hope like crazy doesn't happen, but we are certainly aware that it possibly could. We also put similar protocols, guidelines in place for wrestling. Most of the facility guidelines are the same. We're gonna require masks. We're gonna require social distancing. The facility is going to be clean between sessions in wrestling. Our times, our dates have changed from what was included in our manual and what was included on our 2-year planner. So please take note, and we're going to post this and we'll get this to you, but please take note of the times for our regionals, for our state tournament, for our dual state tournament. They are different than what was earlier published. So we want you to be aware of those. Going through our state tournament dates. Our girls' state tournament for all classes will be held Thursday, the 25th of February. For our 4A and 5A boys' state tournament, that's going to be held on Friday, February 26th. And it's going to be a one-day tournament for each class. We have done so, limited those tournaments for each class to a one-day tournament, where they've been 2 in the past, in trying to limit the amount of time that schools have to spend. In other words, in this case, they will not have to spend the night to complete the state tournament. We're going to try to get it done in one day for these classes. So 4A, 5A, again, will be Friday, February 26th. For classes 3A and 6A, that tournament's going to be on Saturday, the 27th. Then for dual state, we're going to do the same thing. Classes 4A and 5A will complete their tournament on Friday, March 12th. Classes 3A and 2A will complete theirs on Saturday, March 13th. And again, prices are the same. The clearing between sessions, all the same. So we want you to be aware of those things. I went through that very, very quickly. Hopefully you have entered questions in the chat room. So they're going to share those with me, and we're going to try to get through whatever questions you might have after that brief overview. Okay, can you tell me what they are? I can't. I take my glasses off.
On the capacity, it sounds like at minimum, every player will be allowed 4 fans, but at maximum, is there a top-end percentage that you're expecting?
In our conversations, in answering the question that Van Shea read off about capacity, in our conversations with the governor's office and the state health department, we are hoping that we can achieve a 50% capacity limitation. Again, if the governor extends his order as it's currently written, we're going to be limited to the 4 per participant. But we are looking for a 50% capacity limitation.
If it goes beyond the 4 per player minimum, will tickets all be sold in advance, or will it be sold at the door?
No, in some cases, our tickets will be sold at the door. There are some circumstances where we will sell online tickets, but probably in most cases, they will be the hard copy tickets sold at the door.
Who will be paying for the cost of cleaning the sites between games?
The cost of cleaning is going to be a shared responsibility. We know that that's an additional cost for our schools, and we are looking to add to their cost for hosting. We're going to add to that. We know that's both in personnel and in supplies. That's going to be added cost to the schools, but we are certainly going to look to help with that cost.
How will media accessibility work this year? In past years, we were pretty packed, especially in smaller gyms, and not spread out like we get at Jim Norick. How's that spacing going to work in the smaller gyms during state? And what do you need to do as a media to guarantee us a spot to broadcast from?
You know, we are still working on that plan to space out media at our venues when we get to the playoffs. And I'm glad that someone asked that question, because it gives us an opportunity to ask you to be patient with us as we work out those details. You know, we want everyone that wants to be at those contests to be there, but hopefully that you all understand the circumstances that we're dealing with in terms of spacing and trying to mitigate the spread of the virus. So we're not going to be able to accomplish what we've been able to accomplish in the past. We hope that you're understanding as we get those details out to you. Again, it's still a work in progress as we put that together. It might change from week to week as we advance through the playoffs. So please stay tuned to our webpage as we'll communicate those things out to you. But the overall message today is please be ready for that process to be different than it has been in the past for the obvious reasons.
Are there expected to be changes made to the state tournament schedule as far as sites and dates of the contest? If so, when are those going to be announced?
Yes, we are going to have a different look to our state tournament schedule. Right now, as an overview, without giving specific details, we're probably going to be playing state tournament games much earlier in the week and working throughout the week. We could start possibly as early as Tuesday to work through our tournament throughout that week. We are limited in the number of facilities that we have available to us. So we are probably looking to be in our main site more days than we have been in the past, which means we're going to have to spread out our tournament, and that's why we're looking to probably start earlier in the week. And right now, our plan is to probably start on Tuesday, and we will get that posted hopefully within the next week.
There might be a scenario if the restrictions aren't eased and only 4 fans per player in the stands. That would mean no fans from the community, schools, etc. If the players are only allowed 4 tickets per school or 4 per participant, then that would mean no fans from the community or school.
That's if the governor's order is extended, that's what we're bound to. The 4 spectators per participant. We would be bound. We're bound by that right now as we finish up the regular season. So yes, but hopefully we will get some relief from that.
Would that 4 per player restriction hold for state? State Fair and Mabee Center are bigger than most other gymnasiums.
Again, the governor's order applied to indoor activities for our school activities. There was not any exception given for the size of the facility where we are. So if it's extended, that's what we're bound to. Yes.
Any discussions of making live streams for finals free to fans because of limited capacity?
We haven't had that discussion. We want as many people obviously to take part in our activities as we possibly can. We are working with the NFHS network to stream our playoffs, and we're going to try to do that as often as we possibly can to give people access to our games. Making them free, that's probably not going to happen.
With locations, does that mean any locations will go to the east side given a Tuesday, Saturday tournament and the increased hotel expenses.
Okay, read that again, please.
Will that mean any locations will go to the east side given a Tuesday through Saturday tournament and the increased hotel expenses?
If we start on Tuesday and we're playing our state tournament in Tulsa, it could mean either staying throughout the week, or hopefully in some cases those schools would travel back and forth. It could mean that, yes.
Is the format change for Class B through 4A, and is 5A, 6A going to go to a Tuesday through Saturday format?
Again, no, nothing has been officially determined. We're looking at those formats right now, and hopefully within a week or so, be able to get those out to you. Right now, we're looking at 2 or 3 different formats to be able to accommodate our state tournament. A lot of what we decide on, quite frankly, will be decided for us, because we are, as always, at the mercy of the facilities hosting our event. So we're working closely with all our venues to see who we have available to us and what their particular demands and restrictions will be.
With wrestling, the athletes and coaches mix a lot in the warm-up area and on the sides of the mats. Will there be a change there?
Yeah, those details, those type details are being worked out in wrestling. We're going to try to accomplish everything that we do in as safe a manner as possible. So even those type of situations, warming up and things like that, we're going to have to work out some details. So haven't determined exactly what that's going to look like yet, but we will certainly address those things.
How confident are you that basketball and wrestling will be able to complete the state championships this year?
That's a really good question. Because of what we've seen from our school people and their determination to want to complete our state tournaments, that gives me confidence. We had a really good meeting this morning with a lot of our school people, and they want it to happen. And they're the key, because our school people, our administrators, our coaches, they've got a crucial part in making what we're trying to do happen. So with their determination in wanting this to happen, that gives us confidence in this office that it will.
State swimming, seating, and capacity?
Again, right now, everything is subject to the governor's executive order of 4 spectators per participant. So the venues are different. So that what that capacity is will be different for each venue, but they're all subject to that same number of people. We hope that we've answered some of your questions. We know that you're going to have some others as you think about this. And as always, any of our staff, Van Shea in particular, that you all are familiar with, we're always open to answer any questions you might have at any time. So whatever you think of that we didn't get to today, we ask you that you would email us, call us. We certainly want to give you all the information that we have, and more importantly, continue to check our webpage as we will continue to post changes and information that we get that pertains to our postseason contest. So again, thank you all for being a part of this today, and please don't hesitate to call us when you need to.